Okay, once we added that style sheet, our website is looking a lot better, and we didn't have to do that much to make it look better. Later on, we will. We'll be making our own style sheets. But there's still something missing that's in most websites. If you think of most of the websites that you have recently looked at, the main thing besides text in them are pictures, drawings, images of any kind, photographs. That's missing. So we need to start adding some of them. And there's a special tag, of course, for doing that. So we're going to open up a new line of code here, line 10. That tag is called IMG for image. Okay? Now, the image tag, we need something for that. If you can remember back to the style sheets, we can't really get that background in there of the style sheet until we know where it's located. And the same thing happens for images too. If we don't know where the image is located on the internet, or the web browser doesn't know, there's going to be nothing that's in there. So we have to actually give it a path to tell it where to go. Now, we don't use for images the same attribute that we used for the style sheet, which was the href attribute. We use something else called the src, which stands for source, and you can see it's colored yellow because it is an attribute. And you know, after an attribute, you have to follow it immediately with an equal sign, and then the value of the attribute has to be enclosed in the quotes. And so Michael Walmsley has also conveniently given us a few images on his website that we can access to put in this little page that we're doing here. So pretty much all of this here until this forward slash is going to be the same, because that's the name of his main site. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it in here. Okay? But it's not going to be where the CSS is. The CSS stands for the folder or directory that only contains the style sheets. So if it's going to contain images, normally on the web we put it in a different directory folder called images. Okay? And he's got a ton of images in this images directory. This is where all his, this is his directory where all the images live. And so for the ones that actually are on this profile page, he's got another directory. Well, actually, he doesn't, now that I'm thinking of it. Okay, so we're just going to go profile. He actually just named the file profile. And the type of image it is a, actually it should have a number on it too, I believe. I'm going to try that. And the type of image it is a PNG. We'll talk more about the different types of image files a little bit later. Okay, so there is the value or the location where this image source is. Now, if I was to save it right now, do you think it would display? Is it pretty complete the way it is? Should we try it? Where is it? Well, as you remember, if you have an opening bracket, you need a closing bracket. So let's do that. And if I typed it all correctly, we'll see if it works. Okay, well, this doesn't look much like a cyber girl, and fortunately, he has a couple of these pictures in there. Actually, this is showing in my browser right now. This is, I'm code editor, sorry. This is a neat little feature of this code browser. So let me see if I get a girl with that. Of course, if you're a boy, you can choose that one. We'll save it, take a look at it. Okay, I'm cool with that. But you can go, I think he's got several images in there. If you don't like this one, you don't like the first one, you can keep going. Pretty soon you're going to run out of numbers. You won't have any images for that. But you can explore them all and decide which one that you actually like the best. Okay, so it kind of just plopped the image in there, and I kind of like it the way it is. Nice border around it. This is all done in the style sheet, by the way, that he provided with us, so we'll learn more about that later. But say in this page, maybe I wanted it smaller. That was too big. Or maybe I wanted it bigger. Maybe that was too small. Well, there is another attribute that you can use on this image that you can adjust that with. And of course, it's called width, and there's also a height one. Let's start with the width, and we write them the same way. There's an equal sign, then some quotes. And when you play around with this, you start to learn more about like what the actual sizes of web images are. So if I start out with 50, and I don't have to put pixels or anything there, it just kind of automatically assumes the sizes in pixels. And then I save it, and I take a look at it. Not too good. I'm thinking, like, from what I saw of it, was probably closer to let's try 300. You play around with these, you get an idea of, okay, this is what I want. If I wanted a thumbnail or something, that would be probably a perfect size, but I really don't want that, so I'm going to change this to 300 and see what it looks like there. When you change one element, well, that's 3,000, and what that's going to look like, it's going to go off the page. Whoops, I'm screwing up. Okay, 300, and then let's get rid of all this. It's not very happy with me here. Okay, let's try 300. Okay, that's about the size it was. So you can kind of see, it was 3,000, you probably only see our eyeball or something like that. When you adjust the width, the height of the picture automatically adjusts. So naturally, you want to adjust the size that is most important to you. If you think it's too long for your web page, then you would just actually do the height. Let's try the height here and see what the difference is. So let's make the height 300. I'm going to use like width because I can spell it better. Ugh. But it depends really on what you actually, what your elements of your page need to be. Okay, that didn't do much of it because it's pretty much a square picture. Okay, but you get the picture. If you need to make it wider for your web page, then you would adjust the width. If you need to make it shorter or longer, then the height. And the other one will automatically adjust depending on the original proportions of the picture. Another useful thing that we can do that you see implemented on the web all the time is that when we mouse over the image, sometimes a little tooltip pops up. And that's easy also to actually add to this. And it's another, of course, attribute with a value to it. And they call this attribute title. Notice how it's different from the title up here, which is an actual tag. This is the tag title. And we're using the same word, but we're using it within the image tag. And here it's just an attribute. And it does a different function. And that's perfectly okay. And the function it does is to just add some text there to say what you want it to say when you mouse over it. Like, I'm tough. Didn't think about that too much, really. Okay. So when I save that, I should be able to see that happen when I mouse over it. I don't. Let's see. Let's get rid of this and maybe refresh the page. And there it is. Kind of just instantly displayed. Okay,